monsters of the series, none stand out more than the Elder Dragons. These monsters are of such great power that they can cause natural disasters, and some are even worshipped as gods and deities. The Elder Dragons are elusive, powerful, and some are just bizarre in appearance or giant in size. This list will be different from my top 10 favorite monsters list, as I will be judging the monsters based on how they are as an Elder Dragon, rather than if I just really like them or not. I'll be judging them based on difficulty, design, music, lore, behavior, and attacks, and maybe weapons and armor if I feel like it. Also, I will not be including monsters from the Frontier series, as the list would just consist of most of those, as they have some of the best Elder Dragons in the series. But monsters from all other games will still apply. If you're ready to go, let's get started. One aspect of the Elder Dragons that makes them so powerful is their ability to utilize one or several elements to their greatest effect. Most of them use the natural elements of fire, water, electricity, and wind, but one that I've seen not used very often is the element of earth. There are a few that do use this element, such as the Tartaronus from online, as well as the Morins as well. But there is one monster I think uses Earth to the greatest effect of any monster in the series. We're taking a trip to the Great Desert to meet the mysterious spirit of said desert, the Nephew Garumudo. A monster that looks like something straight out of Egyptian mythology, the Nephew Garumudo has become the official flagship monster of Monster Hunter Explorer. This Elder Dragon has very similar build to other minor elders such as Kushala and Teostra. But unlike those two, Nephew is able to use the earth element, and with maximum effectiveness. The glowing blue crystal on its tail allows the Nephew to control and manipulate the very sand around it, allowing it to create sandstorms, dust devils, and even pools of quicksand, or a combination of these abilities. It's also able to summon these strange pillars with runes engraved on them, indicating that it may have some relation with the ancient civilization. One of the best aspects about the Nephew is its design, looking like a combination of a dragon, Anubis, and a sphinx. And its gold, blue, and black colors work well really together. And the feathered wings and jackal-like head really bring together its Egyptian-inspired design. Also, that music is amazing. Why it is not any higher is because of its exclusivity to the Japanese version of Monster Hunter Explorer. I do hope though that eventually it does come to the West, as I would love to fight this Egyptian-style dragon, and wear its armor that makes me look like a pharaoh. First off, you're probably thinking, I thought Dollmaw was your favorite monster. Why is it so low? Well, the explanation is simple. Dollmaw may be my favorite monster, but I will admit that it is not the best Elder Dragon. Mainly because it suffers from something many call giant monster syndrome. Basically what this is that the monsters that are generally giant in size suffer from not being very exciting. They have slow attacks, and they have a ton of health, so they take forever to kill. Their attacks may be strong, but they're often very predictable and easy to avoid. Dollmaw suffers from these symptoms, but I still find myself enjoying his fight. As for the monster itself, the Dollmaw is a beast that was thought to have only existed in fairy tales, but was discovered residing on top of the peak of the Heavens Mountain. The monster was respected as a deity of the mountain and earth, and to rise pillars of rock and able to form the shapes of structures such as valleys and canyons. It's a powerful monster that has many abilities at its disposal. Its huge size gives it immense physical strength and jaws that can crunch through a mountainside with ease. It can also spit a breath of blue fire that it can sweep across the battlefield, Its fire and snakebite attacks are both very high damaging and can easily result in a one-hit kill. But they are easy to avoid if you know what you are doing. Probably the attack you'll get hit by the most often is Dollmaw's meteors. These blue meteors will fall from the sky as indicated by glowing white pillars that will spawn all over the battle. The meteors spawn in random locations and sometimes on top or near you. They fall fairly fast and the blast radius of the impact is hard to get away from. Some of these meteors, however, will become embedded in the ground and are able to be mined for shattered omens. As a weird sort of gag thing, Dollmaw's tongue is covered in a paralyzing toxin, and if you touch that tongue, you will be paralyzed. So be careful when attacking the head. One aspect that is very nice about the Dollmaw is how the fight transitions. As Dollmaw takes more damage, it will start destroying more and more of the mountain, even to the point of destroying essentially almost half of the entire area. It may not be a fun fight for some, but I'll always enjoy this little big serpent as my favorite all-time monster of the series. Nephew isn't the only monster that dwells in the Great Desert and uses the power of the sand and earth. Dwelling beneath the sands of the desert are two giant beasts that will destroy ships that sail across the desert, and are often accompanied by a surrounding sandstorm. Introducing the Gen Morin and the Darren Morin. The Morans are massive whale-like monsters that dwell in the Great Desert sands. I've added them both as they are basically the same monster, just different appearances and behavior. Their most distinctive feature is their horn and tusks. They use these for both burrowing through the sand and for goring through ships and towns that they come across. They are normally docile monsters that dwell deep under the sand, where they feed on anything that fits into their huge gaping mouths. However, when they go on a rampage, they have been known to destroy and flatten entire towns that are built on the sands. So many hunters are sent out to fight them before they reach town. They may be giants, but they don't suffer the same fate as Dollmaw. The fights are very much more exciting, and it's all thanks to the main mechanic of the fight. The Morans will swim alongside the ship, and you'll have to bombard the beast with assaults from your weapon and the multitude of weaponry aboard the ship, including ballistas, cannons, a hunting gong, a harpoon ballista, and the almighty Dragonator. After enough damage has been dealt to them, the second phase will commence. The ship is out of fuel, and you are stuck between the Morin and the town, so you'll have to finish the fight here as the Morin slowly approaches. They both share the same sort of attacks. They both have a sweeping attack with their tusks or horn, a body slam, and at the higher ranks, a sandblast attack. Watch out for its giant body slam though. You aren't the only thing taking damage here. The ship also has a health bar, and you will fail if it is destroyed, and the giant body slam will do a number on it. So the hunting gong and the ballista binder are great for stopping it in its tracks. The music that plays for their fight is also especially nice, giving the feeling of intensity and urgency, that you have to kill it or drive it away before it destroys the town. Just have a listen. They're lower on the list as the monsters are fairly easy to deal with themselves, especially the paper drill that is the Darren Morin. They're more likely to destroy the ship more than fainting the hunter all 3 times, and sometimes they like to spam the giant body slam so that you can easily destroy the ship if they do that. But the fights are still intense and really make me miss Loklak City. Now we're getting to the Outer Dragons that really pose a threat, and boast some extreme power, starting with Dire Moralis. Lurking in the blood-red waters of the Tainted Sea, this hulking volcano dragon is one of many worshipped as a god. Revered by many cultures across the Monster Hunter world as either the creator of the world or the bringer of the apocalypse. Its body is clad in rocky armor, and although it can't fly, it can spew molten balls of magma from its wings. Also, this thing is immortal! Even when it dies, its heart is still beating healthily after death, and it can even regenerate its entire body from just its heart alone. And to top it all off, it's believed to be an incarnation of one of the strongest monsters in existence, the Fatalis. Any ship that sails into its waters are quickly destroyed. Its immense size is very intimidating, and its fire attacks can really deal some damage, especially its signature supernova attack, an explosive fireball that has a massive blast radius. Luckily, there are 2 Dragonators that can be used to damage him, one in the water and one on land. But Dire Moralis does have a few tricks up its sleeve. Once it reaches half health, it enters armor mode, where all attacks bounce off of it if you don't hit a weak spot. Also, as an added bonus, instead of blood circling through its body, instead it has magma. And the only way to stop its armor mode is to destroy the magma swirling in its chest. It's a monster that should not be taken lightly, and demonstrates its power as a beast of pure, unadulterated destruction. Hope you brought your brown pants. What do you get when you cross a Shekarmogila with a jet plane? You get the outer dragon known as the Volfok. This is a monster that very few get to see, mainly because of the fact that you can barely see the damn thing as it streaks across the skies at supersonic speeds. It is constantly in flight, only landing to get food or to drink. Sometimes it'll even get food to go by you can grab a Ludroth or 2 from a nearby ocean. Because it throws caution to the wind while flying, and also because it can't really stop once it's started, it has been known to hit and destroy things while flying, such as airships. It's a capable fighter too. By expelling dragon energy from pores on its wings, it can launch itself like a rocket for flight or for a high-speed charge. Its wings are also formidable weapons. Acting like blades, it can jab them forwards like a spear to skewer other monsters, or it can invert its wings to resemble claws and attack with powerful melee slashes and swipes. Oh, and while like this, it can also rapid-fire bullets of dragon energy from its wings. But none of this compares to its signature attack, the Falling Star. By rocketing into the air, Volfok will fly around high above the skies and will go so fast that it literally breaks the sound barrier before it then dive bombs down towards the ground and any unlucky player at insanely high speeds, literally taking up to 2 seconds, I calculated it, for it to hit the ground from its place in the sky. It also has some very good music, having a valiant, heroic sort of feel. Its speed and range make it a formidable monster and a tough one to fight, easily able to hold its own and rocketing to the number 6 spot. Covered a Matsu in my top 10 favorite monsters video, but since now I've gotten a chance to fight it, I can finally confirm some things about this Storm Dragon. First is that it is an amazing fight. The atmosphere is so calming. Like you're fighting not just a monster, but an intelligent celestial being, and a force of nature. Living at the top of the sacred pinnacle, the Amatsu actually drove most of the native monsters down the mountain closer to the village of Yukumo. The Amatsu is just such a graceful looking monster, with its elegant design, long Eastern style whiskers, and a roar that just sends chills down my spine every time I hear it. But it is still a powerful being that demonstrates this greatly, harnessing the power of one of nature's most deadly forces. Amatsu is able to create powerful storms, giant tornadoes, and powerful gusts of wind. And thanks to a special sac in its body, it can produce and fire streams of pressurized water that can cut clean through the tough mountain rock and earth. And to top it all off, when Amatsu is slain, its storm disperses, the sun shines bright, and a rainbow appears, all topped off by that beautiful, unique victory theme that only plays for it. A beautiful monster, a beautiful fight, and one of the best music tracks in the entire series. The Gog Mazzio is a monster that towers among most others, and rivals even the dire Moralis in size. Awakening every 100 years from a deep slumber, it roams about in search of one primary food source: gunpowder. It will raid the defensive fortresses of many cities and towns to feed on the supply of gunpowder used for the fortress weaponry. It's an elder dragon that not even these battle quarters can stop. A lone Gog Mazzio long ago roamed to the town of Dollmaw, feeding on its supply of gunpowder and other explosive and flammable objects in the battle quarters. They tried to kill it, but not even their prototype weapon, the Dragonator, was enough to stop it. The Dragonator became lodged in the dragon's back, and it broke and left. So now the Gog Mazzios roamed around with a giant Dragonator drill embedded in its back, along with a bunch of other debris as well. The reason for this is because the Gog Mazzios' body is covered from head to tail in a black sticky oil that secretes from multiple parts of its body. With the use of the war-torn dragon's fire in its chest, it can produce a primal flame that when mixed with its oil can result in some very explosive results. It can fire blasts of oil from its mouth, or it can fire a mixture of oil and fire as a powerful explosive beam. Its fight is probably one of the most intense there is. It is kept in the circular area of the battle quarters, and with the massive arsenal of weapons, there is plenty to do to deal with the threat. There's the Dragonator, ballistas, binders, as well as the cannon cart that can load and then fire up to 9 cannonballs at once. And the almighty Demolisher Cannon, a massive cannon that takes a while to ready up, but can fire a devastating blast of pure raw dragon energy that can demolish a lot of Gog's health. And it's all coupled by that satisfying music that plays afterwards. Proof of a Hero is one of the best music pieces in the series, and often plays when nailing an Elder Dragon with the strongest weapon available, indicating that this is now your fight, and the motivation of the music drives you to finish it, taking down the mighty beast with everything you and your team have got. But there's just one more thing about the Gog that I forgot to mention before I move on. Despite all that oil on its body and the way its massive limbs look, it can fly. These last 3 are monsters that demonstrate such immense power that they can alter the very areas around them, destroy entire ecosystems, and wipe out entire species. Starting them off is the big bad trio of the 3 Fatalis Sisters. These 3 dragons are practically the symbol for the Elder Dragons, and have some heavy backstory and lore, so get ready. Starting with the weakest of the 3 is the Black Fatalis. A purplish-black dragon that roams around the ruins of the castle Shroud, the Black Fatalis is its only living resident. Long ago, it was a kingdom to the ancient civilization, but during the events of a great war between them and the monsters, due to the civilization's misuse and abuse of them for their own selfish needs, a lone black dragon that was in a rage because of the many deaths of its kin single-handedly destroyed the civilization and their kingdom, reducing the castle Shroud to a pile of ruin and rubble. With powerful fire abilities, the Black Fatalis can scorch the very earth around it, and its tail can cleave the ground in two. And that Fatalis that destroyed the castle, it's still there, but changed. The second of the 3 is the Crimson Fatalis, a blood-red demon of a dragon that lives in the hellish fires of only the hottest volcanic regions. Many of its attacks are similar to the Dire Miralis, but with some new ones, including a flamethrower and a blast powder explosion. But there are even more powerful Crimson Fatalis that boast even stronger power. They can create heat waves that cook even the most heat-resistant prey from the inside out, summon walls of lava, and destroy the very ground around it to drag its victims into the depths of hell with it. But these two pale in comparison to the beast that is the ancestor, the original monster, the Elder White Fatalis. Fatalis that I said changed? Well, this was what it became. Its black scales turned to holy white, its spikes turned to fur, and its devastating fire turned to celestial dragon lightning. Believed by many to be the strongest monster, it has many secret power that it has concealed, and a grudge against humanity that will never die. Its lightning smites any that oppose what is Monster Hunter's equivalent of God. It roams between the ancient towers and the ruined castle, fighting those that oppose it. And, when pushed to its limits, it is able to access an ultimate power that devastates anything around it, and can erase victims from existence in a divine light. The 3 Fatalis are forces beyond nature that can end entire races and strike fear into even the largest of monsters. True monsters of power. If ever eyes of darkness widen, a light from yonder soon will break. But if the land the light should brighten, a shadow wanders in its wake. If dawn is sent to slay the night, and chase its minions underground, then when dusk makes the day take night, beneath its pinions night rebounds. But do not cry, my sons and daughters, life must leave to come again, and when it does, it springs like water, a great reprieve to end all pain. Turn now, heaven's wheel, turn, turn, that we may heal. A dragon foretold in the prophecy of Cathar village and known as the Tainted Black Wind. The Shekarmogila is a monster who has a real impact on the story of Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. Long ago, a Shekarmogila nearly wiped out all life on the Heavens Mountain, spreading its virus, infecting every monster on the mountain, sending them all into a frenzied rage, and either kill each other or die of exhaustion. Soon enough, the entire mountain was littered with the corpses of dead monsters, all resulting from this one all-powerful dragon. But there's something special about the one you fight. It has a grudge against you. Throughout most of the game, you encounter a monster called the Gog Mazzio. You drive it away from attacking your boat, drive it off from attacking 2 injured Ace Hunter members, and eventually you'll kill it in the Ancestral Steppe. Or so you think. When the guild went to retrieve the body, it was gone. Weak and barely on the edge of death, the Gog Mazzio hauled itself all the way to the Heavens Mountain. It then started to molt and shed, its black scales peeling off and becoming a bright gold. It became the Shekarmogila feared in Gathar's prophecy. Serving as the final boss of low-ranked story, this is a battle between 2 rivals who are now going to fight till one drops dead. The intense music is perfect for this fierce battle and the things that are at stake. You need to disrupt the wheel and stop the prophecy from coming true once again. This is the Dragon of Dragons, a beast whose power is so great that it can alter the very weather, power that make even gods fear its very presence. With scales that glimmer a shining blackness, and a mastery of 4 of the 5 elements, you are now in the domain of the Alatreon. Residing at the Sacred Land or the Ingle Island, this large dragon is able to utilize 4 of the 5 natural elements in battle: fire, ice, lightning, and dragon energy. However, the Alatreon can't contain and control this much power, so its elemental abilities become unstable, which causes it to let loose random discharges of power, and this power can alter the very weather around it. Mainly focusing on ice and lightning, it can summon down multiple bolts of lightning, charge its claws up with electricity for an electrifying punch, breathe a breath of cold icy wind, and rain down shards of sharp pillars of ice so cold that not even the heat of its habitat will melt it. It does, however, have to switch between 2 of its elements at a time, and can't use them all at once, most likely as a way of being able to control what power it can. No airship ever dares fly anywhere near this dragon's home, for fear of being shot down. It's a dragon feared by everyone and everything, and your only defense is your armor, weapon, and occasionally a ballista. Surviving this living disaster is no easy feat, and one that many have tried and failed. I'm Thevaporeonsshadow, and Alatreon is the best Elder Dragon in Monster Hunter.